guys, so for today's video I'm going to be doing some Snowglobe aquarium nails. So to start off, I'm going to be using Blood Moon and Spoiled Rotten from Ball Pit. They are a really pretty red glitter and a really pretty green glitter polish. At first I was going to ombre them down, but then I ended up not liking how that looked, so I just went ahead and painted the nail bed area, or the part that's going to cover up my natural nail. And I did 2 layers of that, and I cured each layer for 60 seconds. I haven't done an aquarium nail in a while, I feel like. Just because I kind of got a little burnt out of doing aquarium nails and like seeing aquarium nails, because everyone started doing them once the dash method came out, which made it a lot easier for a lot of people to do aquarium nails. And I don't know, it just kind of burned me out of doing aquarium nails because they were everywhere and everyone was doing them, and I was kind of sick of seeing them a little bit. But then with all these mystery Christmas boxes that I have gotten, I got a lot of different things that could be used as inserts for the aquarium nails, and I thought it'd be really cool to do like a snow globe Christmas type of aquarium nail with some of the stuff, since I had a bunch of stuff and like I'm not really gonna use it any other way. So just to use up some of the little charms and things that I got, I figured this would be a good way to get rid of some of them and like use them up. Also, I decided to start with the tops of the nails because it would be easier to do it this way, because once you get that backing on the nails and like you build your tank, it's kind of hard to stick them onto the nail stands and make sure that they're actually stuck to the nail stand without like popping open the back. So it's just a little bit easier to start with the tops of the nails and then go in afterwards and build up your tank and fill them up and everything. Now I'm using this gold striping tape that I got in, I think it was the Vetsy box, or maybe it was the Daily Charm box. I don't know. One of the 3 boxes that I got. And just laying that down where the nail bed area and the rest of the nail meet. I kind of wanted to make these look like presents up at the top. So that's why I'm adding this gold striping tape here. Also because my line wasn't super straight. I wasn't really like trying to perfect it or anything. I just painted it on. And this kind of helped hide the imperfections a little bit. So I just went ahead and applied that to all of the nails. I did wipe them all off with alcohol first to remove the sticky layer on the gel polish, because just like nail stickers, this tape won't stick to a sticky surface. It will pop up and slide around on you. So make sure you are wiping the nail off with alcohol first and removing that sticky layer before applying any nail stickers or striping tape or anything. So like I said, I wanted these to look like little presents. So I'm taking some of these little gold bow charms that I got, again, in one of the boxes. Most of the stuff that I'm using in this video are either from Daily Charm, Vetsy, or Varnail, unless I say otherwise. But like all of the charms and inserts that I'm putting into the nails are from Vetsy, Varnail, or Daily Charm. But these gold charms, they are super flat, so I'm using this little tool that I got. You can get it off of like Temu, AliExpress, Amazon, basically anywhere you can find like nail supplies, and make them curved so they sit flat against the nail. And since I'm putting these on top of the nail, I do want them to be a little curved so they will sit flat on the nail. And the way you do this is you take the side that's going to be facing up on the nail and you place that face down, just like how I showed here, in this little tray thing. And then you take the other part of the tool, the little rounded bar thing, and just press that in there, and it will curve the charm so that it has that curved, it's curved and it will sit flat on the nail. After I do that to all the charms, I'm taking my squeeze rhinestone glue from Nail Couture and my shiny top coat from LGN, and I'm just applying the rhinestone glue where I want the bows to go, and then I'm going in with the top coat and going all around that and top coating the rest of the nail. That way, once I cure this, I'm finished with the top of the nails, and then I can start working on the back. And then once I get the rhinestone glue and the top coat on, I do go ahead and stick the little bows on to the nail there on the little gold tape part, so that way it looks like it's a present with a little gold bow on it. When I showed the rhinestone glue, you might have saw there in the background that I did have some other Christmas charms laid out that I was going to put on the red and green parts of the nails as well, but then I decided that'd be a little too crowded and it really wouldn't give that wrapped present look anymore, so I just decided not to use those. I put those away and just stuck with the gold bows. After I got the bow on and everything applied, I did go ahead and cure for 60 seconds. So now that I'm done with that, I'm going to take this rhinestone glue from Glitz Accessories and such. I think it's like the I Hold condensed glue or something it's called. And I'm just applying like a big chunk of it onto the back of this silicone nail art thing that I have that I got in my one of the Halloween mystery boxes. And just laying that out so I can place the nails down onto it to create the backing. And honestly, using this little silicone thingy here worked really well for this. Usually I will just take like a piece of saran wrap and like put it on, like wrap it around my nail palette or something, and that works just fine. So if like you don't have one of these, you don't have to go out and buy one. You can use what you already have. But if you do have one of these little silicone things, use the back of it, or the opposite side of like where you would put the gel polish to get your little nail art decal or whatever, and it works super well, and it does leave it super flat. I have had instances where my backings were a little wrinkled from using the plastic wrap method, but like I said, if that's all you have, then use it. Don't go out and buy one of these if you don't need to buy one. Just use what you have. But like I said, I just spread that all out while it was still wet. I stuck the nails down into it, and I made sure to press them down to make sure that they were really in the nail glue and not just sitting on top. That way the nail glue would kind of go up the sides and make sure that the sides were sealed in and there wasn't any like cracks or holes in the side, so there wouldn't be any leaking and I wouldn't have to go in later and like patch that up or anything. And then after I got all of the nails laid down, I did go ahead and cure for 60 seconds. And then once I pulled it up off of this silicone backing, I did have to go in and flip the nails upside down and cure the part that was on the silicone mat again because it was still a little tacky. But then once I cured it again, it was fine. Also, I will say this glue, rhinestone glue, isn't my favorite to use for these aquarium nails. The kind that I typically use is from Amazon. It's like GA and EN. It's the same brand of like top coat and base coat that I will use sometimes. And that's what I used to use, but I was having some issues with that like hardening in the jar, even though the jar was completely sealed tight and in a drawer, so it wasn't exposed to any kind of sunlight or anything. So I don't know why it was hardening and like curing in the jar, but I definitely prefer that for like doing aquarium nails with. But because this is what I had, this is what I used. But like I said, it's not my favorite. I do want to try another aquarium nail set and try the E-Nail Couture rhinestone glue that I have and see if that's any better. And if not, then I'm just gonna have to go around and try and find some rhinestone glue that works better and try and figure out like what I prefer over all the rest of them. But anyhow, after that's all cured, I did cut them apart, and now I'm just taking these straight edge cuticle nippers and just cutting off the excess that's around the nails. You can file them off, but I don't like to do that because filing just puts a lot of pressure on it and it can cause the backing to pop off. So I try to do as little filing as possible. So I like to clip all the excess off, and if there is a little still hanging off the sides, I will go in and very lightly file it off and try not to do too much, but enough to where the sides are nice and smooth and there isn't any glue overhanging. After that, you will have two openings, one at the free edge that's going to be a slightly smaller opening, and then one up there towards like the nail bed area that is going to be a slightly larger opening. At this point, you can decide which side you want to fill up. I am filling the smaller side, the free edge side, because I knew that the charms and stuff that I was using to put inside of it wasn't going to fit in this little hole. So I just went ahead, sealed that up with the rhinestone glue, applied that straight to the nail, cured it for 60 seconds. When doing that, you want to keep the nails horizontal, so hold them flat and not hold them up and down. That way gravity doesn't pull the glue into the tank and take up the space that you can use for like your inserts and your oil that you're putting in. Once I get that side sealed up, I was just taking some of the different charms and little things that I got from the boxes and just sticking those in. I like to fill my aquarium nails up super full, so I always put a bunch of stuff in there, probably more than I should, but that's just how I like to do it. You can put as much or as little as you want in there. And you can put whatever. I like to use like heavier stuff in there. So like the little metal pieces or like caviar beads and stuff, or like the little Fimo slices, because it does move a little easier versus like glitter. I did add glitter into the nails and it kind of moves, but it also kind of doesn't because it is so lightweight. Heavier stuff does tend to move a lot better in aquarium nails. So I do try to focus on like heavier little pieces. As you saw there, I did have some issues with like the Fimo slices like sticking and like being a little too big and taking up too much space. I tried to get it out, but I couldn't. So it's just in there taking up a lot of space and being stuck there at the bottom. I don't know. I might have eventually was able to get it unstuck once I added the oil into it, but I don't know. We'll see later on. But you just want to go in, pick out your little inserts, place those in, you know, as much as you want or as little as you want. And then, after you get all of your inserts in, go ahead and put your oil in. I used a blunt end syringe to do that, and I'm also using baby oil. You can get the blunt end syringes off of Amazon. I got them in like this big pack with like a bunch of different ones and a bunch of different like sized needle parts. And then I just filled that up with some baby oil and just put that in there. And I don't leave an air bubble. I don't like the air bubbles. I also feel like the air bubbles make it so the stuff gets stuck and doesn't really move as well. So I do try to make sure I have absolutely no air bubbles. If I feel like I need more stuff in there after filling it up, I will add more stuff. You will see, like right here, I did decide to add some more things because I felt like it needed a few more items in there to just kind of fill up that tank a bit. Also, those little red rhinestones that I showed at the beginning that I was going to put in here, I'm not using them because I could not get that little container open, and I asked both my sisters and my mom, and nobody could get it opened, so not using those. And I decided to use the little glitter mix instead. And then after I get the tank filled up how I want it with all the little inserts and with the oil, I do take that rhinestone glue and just slap that right on to the opening. I've never had any issues with rhinestone glue not curing because of the oil being there. It's always cured very well for me. But I will say, because I am filling or sealing up the larger side with the oil and everything, it is a little more challenging to seal it up. I do kind of have to do it in layers. So I will put one layer of the rhinestone glue down and then cure that and then dry up with a lint-free wipe whatever oil is outside of it and like has kind of spilled out as I was filling it, and then apply some more rhinestone glue and then cure that. And usually that's good. Sometimes I do have to do multiple layers and like see if there's any holes in there to seal up, and just like apply the rhinestone glue wherever it needs to be to make sure that everything is completely sealed up. But every time I apply the rhinestone glue, I do cure for 60 seconds. And then, like I said, wipe it off really well and make sure there's no oil outside of the tank anymore. And then apply some more rhinestone glue, cure that, wipe it off if needed, apply more rhinestone glue. Just repeat that process until everything is completely sealed in. Also, with this, when you're doing it, you can't really hold it horizontally like you could before it was filled up, but you do kind of want to hold it at a bit of an angle. That way, again, gravity's not pulling the glue down inside of the tank. Like I said, it is a little more difficult to do once the oil is in there because you don't want the oil to spill out, but just hold it at as much of an angle as you can without like completely dumping everything out of your tank. And as you could see there, after I did get it sealed up, I realized there was a hole somewhere. I push on the backs of the nails to see if there's any bubbling or if any air is getting into the nail at all. And then if there is, I will just fill that part in and or seal it up with the rhinestone glue, cure it, and then check to make sure it's all good. I do have an air bubble in here because of when I do check it, sometimes I do get the air bubbles, and this is quite a big air bubble, and as you can see, the stuff does tend to get stuck in that air bubble, and that's why I personally don't like adding air bubbles, because like I said, it does get stuck in there and it makes it difficult for the items to move. So I do like to try and have no air bubble, or have as small of an air bubble as possible. The other way you can do this is you can add some of your oil first and then put your inserts in. I kind of don't like doing that. I like to put my inserts in first because the whole displacement thing, you know, if you have liquid and you put something into it, it makes the liquid rise. So I like to put my stuff in first and then fill it. That way I can have as much stuff as possible in there without the liquid or the oil overflowing and spilling out of the nail. Again, like I said, I was struggling with these Fimo pieces. Some of them were way too big for the nails that I was putting them in and getting stuck. Santa here got stuck and I was trying to get him out, but I couldn't, so he just ended up staying and he is stuck the whole time. I will say though, if you're doing glitter in the nail, it does make it easier to put the glitter in after you put the oil in, because you can dip your tweezers into the oil and then dip it into the glitter and then dip it back into the tank, and it will just fall right off down into the tank. So adding oil before glitter does help with putting glitter into the tank if you're struggling adding glitter. But like I said, I usually don't do the oil first and then put my inserts in, because I feel like I can't get as many inserts in there, because again, the oil does get displaced and ends up like overflowing, and it just creates a huge mess. Earlier I mentioned the dash method, and the dash method is what I'm doing here, where you lay some rhinestone glue down first and then stick the nail into that to create your backing, and then seal it up with the rhinestone glue. This method was created by Dash Nails on Instagram, and she has done some really cool aquarium nails. She also does like really cool non-aquarium nails. She sells press-ons on like Etsy, I think it is. So if you don't know her, go over to Instagram, check her out. She does some really cool stuff. And yeah, she started this method, and she even came out with a whole kit to buy. She did run into some issues with that one lady that's like suing people for doing aquarium nails and whatever. If you've been on YouTube long enough, you know the whole situation with Evie over on Long Hair Pretty Nails. That lady is still going at it with people and suing them and everything. So I don't know if she still sells her little aquarium nail kit or not, but you can like check out her Instagram or her Etsy or whatever and see if she still does. I don't know like what the outcome was with that whole situation for her was, and if she's able to sell them like under a new name or something or whatever. But this is her method of creating aquarium nails, and like I said, this method has made it a lot easier for a lot of people to create aquarium nails. Also, side note, I ended up knocking over that container of those little beads there, so they're all over the desk, which irritated me so much. But anyhow, back to what I was saying. This method has made it a lot easier for a lot of people to do aquarium nails, and made it a lot less intimidating for a lot of people, because previously the way that everyone was doing it was you do it on yourself. You lay down a nail tip, then you put a full cover nail tip on top of that to create your tank and like seal that in and everything. And that was hard for a lot of people, but personally for me, doing it that way is a lot easier for me than doing it this way. I struggle so much doing it with the dash method. I don't know why. And I always end up with leaks and air bubbles and just a hot mess, and there's oil everywhere, and I always end up spilling things and making a big mess, and it just doesn't work out as well for me doing it this way as it does doing it the other way. If you want to see how I usually do aquarium nails, or like the other way to do aquarium nails, I do have one. It's my ocean aquarium set. I think there's a couple other that I've done too, but the ocean aquarium set is one that is also my most popular video here on YouTube, which is so insane. But anyhow, to see it has that many views, I think last I checked it was like 8,000, which is absolutely insane to know that one of my videos has that many views. But anyhow, if you're interested in the other way to do aquarium nails, I definitely recommend going and checking out that video, because that one came out really well, and that set was just really a really good set overall. But yeah, if that way is difficult, try out doing this method of aquarium nails. It also makes it easier to do them as press-ons. So like if you sell press-ons and you want to do aquarium nails to sell, this is a great way to do it. You could probably do the other method as well to make press-ons, but I know this is a super easy way for a lot of people to make aquarium press-on nails. But like I said, for me, it's not that easy for me, and I struggle quite a bit doing it. But that's the good thing about these aquarium nails. There are a few different methods you could do, and you can test them out and see what works best for you. And this is the finished result. I think they look really cute and Christmassy. This was probably one of my more least successful aquarium sets in my opinion, just because the glue wasn't all that great and the stuff wasn't really moving that well. I did eventually get it to move pretty well, but it just wasn't moving as well as I know it could move. And like some of those female pieces, like I said, were stuck in there because they were too big for the nails, and it was just making it really hard for things to move around. You can kind of see me here struggling to get stuff to move. I know it's kind of hard to see right now, like stuff moving and stuff because of the angle, and like I can't really hold them flat and show you how they move. But you can kind of see a little bit there when I am in frame, a little bit of the movement. I do have a better clip of them moving and stuff, like where you can actually see me like flipping my hand and the stuff inside moving. But overall, like, this is a super cute set, even though it doesn't really move very well. And like I said, it's not the most successful aquarium nail set that I have done, but I do think it's super cute, and it is very Christmassy. And you can see with the rest of these nails, I was pretty successful in not getting very many air bubbles, or like just having some tiny air bubbles and not having a big one like I did in that first nail there. Also, with this rhinestone glue, I felt like the backing was a little cloudy. I don't know if you can tell or not looking at them, but I just felt like it was left a little cloudy. I did end up going in and top coating the backs of them after realizing that, and it helped a little bit, but I don't think it helped a lot. So that's another reason why I'm not really a huge fan of using this rhinestone glue for aquarium nails, because for the aquarium part, I want it to be like super clear and see-through and not be cloudy at all. Even though it is just the backing, like I still don't want that to be cloudy. I want it to be nice and crystal clear so you can clearly see through it very well. Also here I am just showing the backing. This nail, I had such a hard time getting it sealed in. So you can see there's a ton of glue there. I did end up having to file down that glue quite a bit to get it to fit onto my nail because that glue was just making it to where it wasn't fitting on the nail as well. But the rest of them, see, you can see here, it's not fitting very well because of all that glue. But the rest of them, I was able to use a lot less glue. And because I had to file into that one and get that glue down a little bit, I did end up busting it open and getting a huge leak in it, which was so annoying. And I actually didn't even realize that I did have a leak until I was filming this outside shot, and the nail wasn't sticking with the sticky tabs like it usually does. It was like barely hanging on. You can see it's like falling off right there. It was barely hanging on, and I'm like, what is going on? There's oil dripping all over my finger, and that was when I realized that I had ended up busting a hole in it and it was leaking oil everywhere, so it just wasn't sticking to my nail and the sticky tabs as well as it should be. So you can see I just pulled that off real quick, and now I'm just holding it, trying to show you the rest of the nails and the movement on them. As you can see, the movement's pretty well. It's not the best, but it could be a lot worse and like stuff not move. But that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.